Hello! The purpose of this video is to familiarize users with SDCE's newly available data dashboards produced by the Office of Institutional Effectiveness. These data dashboards are intended to support data-driven decision-making by providing accessible student and course data both at the institutional and program levels. In this video, you will learn how to access the data dashboards, what type of information is provided by these dashboards, navigation tips, and how to leverage this tool to conduct trend analysis. Lastly, we'll go over the two main formats in which each dashboard is available. So let's go ahead and get started by showing you where you can find these dashboards. So I'm going to go ahead and open a new tab in my browser. And I'm going to type sdce.edu to go to our main website. From there, you're going to select the drop-down menu for organization. And I'm going to go down to institutional effectiveness and click. And we're going to click on the tab that says institutional research. From the institutional research website, I'm going to select the tab right next to reports and presentation, which is data dashboards. Once you click there, you're going to be taken to this website, the data dashboards website. We recommend adding this to your bookmarks so that you can easily access the information. On this page, you will also find two video tutorials, a short video with navigation tips that will be uploaded shortly, and a more comprehensive video that covers the dashboards in more detail. The content areas of the data dashboard correspond to those found in the SDCE program factbook, which have been organized into 5 separate dashboards. I will describe them briefly, but before I do that, I would like to take a moment to define the term that will come up quite frequently in this video. That is data disaggregation. Data disaggregation means breaking down the information into smaller groupings. For example, we can disaggregate student headcount by age groups, allowing us to see the age distribution of the student population. Now that the term has been defined, let's go over briefly the content of each of these 5 dashboards. The headcount dashboard includes overall headcount, which can be disaggregated by various demographic indicators. The FDES and FDEF dashboard includes overall FDES and FDEF, which can be disaggregated by whether they come from courses receiving CDCP funding, also by whether they come from day, evening, online courses, and by whether they come from courses classified as Career Technical Education, or CTE for short. It should be noted that the CTE classification is not referring to courses offered in SDCE's program formerly known as CTE. The CTE classification is actually based on the Student Accountability Model Code, also known as SAM, which is required by the state to indicate the degree to which a course is occupational and to assist in the identifying course sequence in occupational programs. The enrollments dashboard includes overall enrollments and can be disaggregated in the same way as FDES and FDEF. The class size dashboard includes average class size, which can be disaggregated by academic term. If you're interested in how this is calculated, average class size is obtained by dividing total attendance hours by total teaching hours. The 5th and last dashboard is awards conferred, and it includes overall awards conferred, which can be disaggregated by award group, award type, CTE course, as well as gender, ethnicity, and age. The last tab that you see here, it's just the link where you can access the PDF version of the SDCE program factbook that I mentioned earlier. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into the headcount dashboard to show you the scope of data that you can expect from all of these dashboards. As you can see, there are two options here, which we'll discuss in a minute, but for now, let's just go ahead and jump into the first one. All of the dashboards will give you the option to view data at the program level or combined. The default setting is to display all of the SDCE programs combined, but you can also view a particular program or a combination of them. Dashboards will also display information for the 5 most recent years. For the headcount, enrollment, and class size dashboards, we will see the data displayed by academic year. An academic year is a 12-month period beginning with the first day of the continuing education summer term and ending at the completion of the spring term. On the other hand, if you're looking at FDES, FDEF, and awards, that data will be based on the fiscal year, which is a 12-month period that begins with July 1st and concludes June 30th of the following calendar year. So now that you're more familiar with the content of the dashboards, let's go over some navigation tips. We're currently looking at the headcount dashboard. If you look at the very top, you will see a series of tabs. Usually, the first tab that you will see will provide a general overview of the measure that you're examining. In this case, we're looking at a general view of headcount. The tabs that follow will show you that same measure, but with an added layer of information. For example, if we go to the ethnicity tab, you will be able to see headcount disaggregated by ethnicity. When there are more tabs that can be fit into one screen, you'll be able to navigate from right to left by using these arrows at the top. A different way you can do the same is by simply clicking on the upper left-hand corner menu, which will display a list of all of the different tabs that are available. To hide that menu, just click on it one more time. So right underneath the heading of that particular dashboard, you will see a series of filters. Depending on which dashboard you're looking at, you can see anything between 2 and 5 different filters. In this case, we have program, academic year, and ethnicity. To apply any given filter, simply click on the drop-down menu, make your selection, and click on it one more time so you can hide it. Depending on what you're interested in, you may choose none or all of the filters. However, applying multiple filters will enable you to dig deeper into the data. Another great feature of these dashboards is the ability to obtain more detailed information about a metric by simply hovering over it. When you hover over something, information that is not available suddenly becomes visible in what we call a tooltip. For example, if I hover over this bar, a tooltip appears with more information. Included in those tooltips are calculations such as percent of column. For example, percent of column here represents the percent of students in 2013-2014 that are Latinos. The percent of column is calculated by dividing the annual count of any given category, in this case, the 15,652 Latinos, by the total annual count of that particular year. The next feature that I want to discuss is the ability to highlight information within the dashboards. This can be done by clicking instead of hovering over the chart. You can highlight the year. You can also highlight any given category. And you can also highlight a particular data point. Another feature that you might find helpful is the ability to share the view that you have created. For example, say you want to share this particular information with someone in your department. By navigating down to the menu on the bottom right-hand corner, you can click on the Share button. That Share button will give you a link that you can share. And when someone uses that in their browser, they'll be taken to a page that displays the exact dashboard that you created, as the screen is showing right now. Okay, so I'm going to close out of that and go back to our dashboard. I'm going to hide that by clicking on it one more time. The last thing I want to discuss here is the footnotes at the very bottom. These footnotes provide data caveats and other relevant information. Additionally, within this area of the dashboard, you'll be able to see the operational definitions link. Clicking on it will take you to a page that will provide you a comprehensive list of the different terms included in the dashboards and in the SDC e-program factbook. So now that we have a basic idea of how to navigate through the dashboards, let's take a look at how we can take advantage of the filtering and tooltip functionality to conduct trend analysis. To do that, I'm going to navigate back to the data dashboard page. And in this case, I'm going to select the enrollments dashboard. However, you can conduct trend analysis basically on any of the dashboards. This one serves as a good example. So within the enrollments dashboard, I'm going to go ahead and click on the tab that disaggregates data based on day, evening, and online courses. The filters that we're going to use to do this particular type of analysis is the program filter and the academic filter. We will also need to pay attention to the tooltip. The measure that we're particularly interested in this case is the percent change from previous column, which is the last measure that you will see in the tooltip currently being displayed on the screen. The percent change from previous column for any given category is obtained by calculating the difference between the selected year, in this case 2013-2014 academic year, and the adjacent previous year, which is 2012-2013 academic year. Once we have that difference, we divide that difference by that previous year's value, which would be the 2012-2013 academic year. When we look at the percent difference and its positive value, in this case 18.72, we know that there was an increase from the previous year. If the value was negative, then we would know that there was a decline. So, how do you conduct trend analysis? Well, let's pretend that we're interested in knowing how day, evening, and online enrollments have changed in the last 5 years for the ESL program. Well, we first need to filter so that we can select the ESL program. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck all the other filters. And now that we're looking at ESL, if I was to hover over these bars, right now I can see the percent change from previous column is 4.53%. This is basically telling me what changed from a year-to-year basis, right? If you want to know the change between 2012-2013 academic year and the most recent year, you will need to get rid of the columns in the middle. So for that, we're going to go ahead and click on the academic year filter and uncheck those 3 middle academic years. As you can see, the dashboard updates to only reflect data from 2012 and 2016. If I hover over the day category for 2016-2017, you can see now that the percent change is a different value. Now we have a percent change from previous column of 42.79%. essentially the 5-year percent change. So now that you're aware of the functionality and the type of information available at your fingertips, it's a good time to discuss the 2 different ways in which you may choose to view your data. For that, I'm going to go ahead and go back to the dashboard page. As you might recall from earlier in this video, whenever I selected one of the dashboards, 2 different options showed up: the comparative programs format and the cumulative programs format. These are 2 alternative versions of the same metric. You might select one or the other depending on your research interest. To show you the difference between these 2, I'm going to go ahead and navigate to the awards conferred dashboard, and I'm going to select the comparative programs format. The comparative program allows you to see programs side by side, showing you a graphical representation for each program selected. For example, you may want to see how your program is doing compared to others. This is called benchmarking. For this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and select the ESL program, and I'm going to leave the All SDCE program as our benchmark. Doing this immediately allows you to see, in terms of proportion, how ESL compares to the benchmark. However, you can also hover over the graph for more information. If you hover over the 2016-2017 academic year for all SDCE programs, you will see that awards conferred declined by about 2% from the previous year at the institutional level. However, if we hover over ESL for that same year, we see that awards conferred increased by about 3% from the previous year. So ESL is actually issuing awards at a higher rate than the institution overall. Conducting benchmark comparisons can be extremely helpful, but if you're an administrator concerned with the big picture, you may also want to be able to combine some programs for your analysis instead of looking at them separately. For this, the Office of Institutional Effectiveness created the Cumulative Programs Dashboards. So let's go back to the Dashboards page, and we're going to select the Awards Conferred dashboard, but this time I'm going to go ahead and click on the Cumulative Programs format. The Cumulative Programs format aggregates or combines all of the programs selected in the program filter. If all of the programs are selected, you will see the same results given by the All SDCE programs grouping available in the comparative format. However, the important distinction of this format is that you may exclude programs here and get an updated count that factors in your exclusions. So let's go ahead and jump into the H tab for awards conferred. Say you want to examine the award distribution among different age groups, but you would like to exclude awards conferred by the Basic Skills program. All you have to do is go ahead and look at the filter for program, uncheck Basic Skills, and you will see how the counts are updated to reflect that particular exclusion. To summarize, there are 2 ways in which you can view each of the dashboards. Which one you choose will be based on whether you want to be able to see programs side by side or to see them combined into a single graph. However, if you select all SDCE programs in the comparative view and all in the cumulative view, both dashboards will look exactly the same. Before we end this video, there is one last thing that I want to show you. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the dashboards page. And I'm going to click on the headcount drop-down menu. you will notice that right next to the cumulative program format, there's a percentage sign. To show you why, let's go ahead and open that dashboard. If you recall, all of the dashboards provide you with data labels that show you counts, whether it's headcounts, enrollments, awards, etc. This overall tab for headcount is an example of that, where you can actually see how many students per academic year. However, when you look at the remaining tabs within this dashboard in this format, you will find that columns are labeled in percentages. For example, let's look at headcount disaggregated by age. In this view, you can see the age distribution in percentages. It should be noted that while all of the bars here are the same height, actual counts are different for each year. This dashboard was created this way to better appreciate the change of a given demographic grouping over time. A caveat is that due to technology limitations, some of the calculations that were included in the tooltip in different dashboards are no longer available in this particular dashboard. So this concludes our tutorial video. This video showed you where to find the data dashboards, what data is included in these dashboards, how to navigate them, how to leverage filters and tooltips to conduct your own analysis, and lastly, we reviewed the 2 different ways in which data is displayed and aggregated to help you choose the view that is more relevant to you. We hope you found this information helpful, and thank you for watching.